Welcome to another episode of Psychotronic Coast to Coast. Today we watched Mutilations, and we're gonna talk about it now. But first, you're gonna watch us sit here and stare at you awkwardly while our theme song plays.
All the cinephiles, freaks, and weirdos, tape heads, ghouls, and ghosts love to tune in and listen to Psychotronic Coast to Coast. Skin Slip and Owen Neal are going to reveal their thoughts on movies that most people don't dare to watch. Psychotronic. Psychotronic. Psychotronic.
Decided to throw everyone for a loop and start talking first, and then throw the theme on just to mix it up. Just because I'm a wild man like that, I'm kind of random sometimes. So, I have to say we have the coolest goddamn intro of any podcast. I'm sorry, we just do. That's all. Thanks to you, sir. So,
Me?
Yeah, you.
Not Matt Farley.
Well, but he wouldn't have done it if you hadn't commissioned him. So, I mean, you're the impetus for it. That's my point. I mean,
That's true.
thanks greatly to Matt for making it. I mean, Gosh, I don't think it would have sounded half as cool by anybody else, but still, it's great. We have this really awesome theme song. All right, so we're talking about Mutilations, 1986 16mm film that is only available on DVD from Massacre Video. And if you're watching this on YouTube, there'll be a link in the doobly-doo below for you if you want to pick this up. Yeah, so do you remember much about this movie other than the effects?
Yes, and I have it playing right now in the background.
Do you really? You have the movie playing?
It's the first time I've done it, but
Are you going to try jumping around like that?
yeah, just to refresh.
That's cool. I'm cool with it. Hey, no judgments.
I remember most of it though.
All right, so it starts with space, Final Frontier,
Yes,
spaceships.
a lot of space. Well, no spaceships yet. Just what was it, Milky Way?
Yeah, there's
I
like a
don't know.
voiceover of some science guy, right?
It was the professor.
It is the professor. You're right. I was about to say, wait, it's the professor, isn't it? Bill Buckner. Is that right?
No,
It's not Bill Buckner.
Bill Buckner was the old guy that ran the restaurant.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah, we just discussed this, right? My bad.
Yeah, because I was like, why do I know that name? But there's a Bill Buckner that played baseball.
It's not the same Bill Buckner, sadly,
No.
because that would have been too cool.
Who's Bill Buckner's only been in like 2 movies. What the fun is the other one?
No, what is this other one? I have to look it up. Here, I'll do that.
It looked like maybe an action movie.
Let's see here. Bill Buckner. Wow. Okay. Well.
You might want to search Mutations.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go to the IMDb on Mutations, because that's the only thing that comes up for him on the other things. So it's kind of weird. The other movie's not on it. The Bounty Hunter. It's Policeman number 4. Oh my God, Robert Ginty directed this movie, and stars in it.
Freaking Ginty. Everything leads back to Robert.
Fucking Christ! We haven't. Have we? Oh yeah, we did. We did a movie with him in it, didn't we?
Whitefire?
Yeah. We did Whitefire. We did something else, didn't we? I think he showed up as a tertiary character in another movie we were watching. Anyway, we really got to get like the Executioner done at some point, because that's like classic Ginty, and I haven't seen it yet.
I have it on a CED.
Oh, nice! I've got it on the Arrow Blu-ray because I'm fancy like that. I'm one of them hipster kids that always gets the Arrow edition. Oh, you've got the Arrow edition? Like, yeah, I do. It's sexy, isn't it? Anyway, so yeah, the professor's giving us the opening intro. Let's actually do the thing now. I'm getting us sidetracked.
Yeah. We're basically introduced to him. I think she's a student, but she's like standing next to him, seems to be into him, and then the other students, which I never picked up a single name, but they're there. He's explaining, stars, and one of them asks if there's aliens. He said, "I'm sure there's other life forms," and then a bright light shoots across the sky, and the nerdy guy's like, "Look!" And I love it just because he points, and then the professor reacts like he's pissed off, like he almost hit him, like I guess like this dirty look. It was just okay, and then he's just like blank face, which is most of his dialogue. He's just like, probably a comet,
Probably a comet.
meteor.
Meteor. There's like pause sometimes, and I love that. Like I would say, 2/3 of the actors will deliver a line like this. I really wish I could have had them been there at that time. You're like, what? What? Can we say a whole sentence like a human being, please? Christ.
It's like he's like a meteorologist, space guy, and he's got no emotion about something that people rarely see, a meteorite hitting Earth. He's just like, probably a meteorite, whatever. I'm like, but that's like should be your passion. That's
That's
like
your
your
bread
thing.
and butter,
Like,
bro. What the fuck?
you should be like, we're getting in a vehicle now, and went this way.
We gotta investigate. Like, come on. Haven't you seen the Blob? You gotta investigate.
He didn't give two shits.
He was the worst character.
So now we cut to some homeless drunk guys who were probably my favorite. One of them was reading the newspaper and he's like, "There's like things you're mutilating cattle," and one guy's like, "You're drunk." It's like, okay. And then the alien, our first slight glimpse of his dinosaur-like legs and his claw hand as he killed some homeless guys.
Yeah, he does it, right? But we don't actually see anything. We just hear them getting killed.
We saw the leg and the claw rip the guy's stomach.
Yeah, but like it was like, oh, that's kind of cool, right? I remember I said that was kind of cool. But much later in the film, we see a way cooler sequence. But we'll get to that when we get to it. But I remember being kind of like, oh, okay, it's gonna be one of those movies when we get to this point, you know.
Yeah.
It wasn't just one of those movies, by the way. It's better than one of those movies.
And it just kind of cuts to the next day, and the professor's teaching the kids. So apparently he did not give a shit about the supposed meteorite.
Not that much. He only cared a little bit.
But they all pile in a car. After one of them, the nerd guy, I think, comes up, or maybe not the nerd guy. One of them comes up in the newspaper and like, check this out about cattle being mutated, and he's like, "Oh yeah, let's drive there." Because why not?
Why not? Fuck, no reason. Just sure, that sounds interesting. So yeah.
But
I like to point out that the professor dresses like Indiana Jones, like a third-rate Indiana Jones. Wrong bomber jacket, really high and tight slacks. It's unbecoming.
And they come across a mutated
Mutated?
a mutated
A mutated
cow.
cow. Oh my
More like
god.
mutilated, but it was really weird because it's like no skin. You can see its ribs. It's like a skull with barely anything on it, yet it's still alive. And he's like, it's some type of mutation. But
More like it's some kind of mutilation.
But yeah, they called it a mutation, but it looks like it was something that was just eating it. I don't know why it was still alive.
It's like Galaxy Quest when they transport the thing and it turns inside out. You know, it turns inside out and exploded. It just didn't explode. Just because it was still alive, then exploded. Right. In this case, it's just writhing because it's skinned alive or turned inside out or something.
And they probably stared at it a good 5 minutes, and then they're like, "Whatever did this is probably still around. Let's get out of here." But they did it completely dead face.
I'd also like to point out that they did the effect shot in like the complete reverse what you expect. Normally, you film the effects, then you film the people in front of a blue screen or whatever, so they can react to it, right? They didn't reverse. They did the fucking effects on a blue screen and put the actors in the background, so they look all faded because it's like 16 millimeter and it's the 80s and they don't have the technology like we have now. You know, this is the kind of thing that like I feel like Criterion would have like corrected the brightness a little bit on, cleaned it up a little bit, and like you kind of ruined the charm of this effect shot because badly composited because it's done wrong. Because the reason why they do it the other way is because you overexpose the effect shot, and then you do a normal exposure or slightly underexposed like normal shot, and then you like meet them in the middle. Like that's because that's when you make the process together, or you make you make the you make you make them actually a little brighter, and then like when you composite them together, they'll match better. They won't be perfect because it's two pieces of film. You'll lose quality. There's a generation lost in there. But I don't know. It's hard to explain, but like they did this wrong, and you're like, oh, it's neat because you get to see the effect really clean and clear. But it's really off-putting because everyone looks like they're standing on a movie screen behind the effects. So, I think it was cool, but yeah, it's definitely a mistake in the filmmaking. So, yeah, we can move on to the next thing.
I blanked out for a second. Okay.
That's all right.
So,
So that's why
so
you edit these later.
They all pile into their minivan and take off because whatever mutated that thing, or mutilated it. I don't know. I still don't know why they call it mutated, but there was one shot of like the alien's leg. Like they must have had like a full size, at least the bottom half of it, which doesn't make sense because it doesn't match the toy leg version of it.
Yeah, these are definitely action figure legs.
Doesn't bend.
Like what this looks like is like some large form action figure, like maybe like a Dino Rider or maybe like a maybe a humanoid character, but then like they've sculpted crap onto the legs, so it's not like straight up their legs, but you can tell it's some guy who's got these two legs and he's just doing this, walking around the camera just above camera frame. You know, it's amusing. It's amusing to see.
The UFO shows up, starts zapping the minivan. It's funny because inside, like the minivan, like outside, it just looks bright red, like they couldn't see anything. And it's zapping it. And I noticed just watching it back here is they use the same shot twice of the minivan swerving and the ship shooting at it.
Yeah, that's not uncommon at all. Did they mirror it?
No.
They should have mirrored it because then it would have been less noticeable.
And it's like, I don't know what that is, but it's taking control of the vehicle. And then they come to a screeching halt at a restaurant here. And they immediately pile out and go inside, and they're completely calm, like nothing happened. Like, give us some burgers and fries.
Clearly, the director did not provide the proper motivation to the actors before they entered the scene. My guess is probably because they filmed it out of order, right? And so, or they filmed it like on the weekends and they forgot because there were 7 days of fucking bullshit like labor or normal work to get through, you know.
I mean, some of them look like they're like exhausted and stuff, but like. They never mentioned like something attacked our vehicle.
And I like to point out that half the characters sound drunk too. Don't forget.
Yeah, and they must have not seen the UFO that was zapping their vehicle. There is one girl that says that she doesn't want a hamburger because obviously what they just saw. And now we get a long, drawn out scene in the restaurant with the old man talking to him. And they're like, we're looking for about the mutilations. And this guy tells his long-winded story. And then the restaurant guy's like, oh, so-and-so.
He gave us a long-winded story, but we didn't get a flashback, right? And I totally said we were going to get one, right?
No
we totally should have gotten a flashback, but instead we just heard him fucking talk to us. We stared at his face while he talked to us instead of him talking and us cutting to, like, some action to show us what's happening. Like, holy crap. What the fuck? The filmmaking mistakes are like noticeable, but like I could totally see someone fucking that. I could see me forgetting to do that on set, right? So I'm criticizing the people. Keep in mind, I'm not any better. Just so we're clear, I'm not a better filmmaker than any of these people by a long shot. So.
I know the goateed guy tells his story about his dogs being ripped apart and his. Cattle. And then the other guy's like, oh, so-and-so has had stuff happen. And then that guy's like, but he's crazy. After telling his completely crazy story about his animals being skinned alive. But now that other guy, his stories are bullshit.
I know, right? What the fuck? Oh, my God.
So they decide they're going to go visit him. And it's funny because after they leave, the guy in the restaurant's like, probably shouldn't have told him that. I'm worried about him now.
You're like, well, why the fuck did he say anything then?
Then there's the scene where they're driving up the road and there's clearly just like a fire in the field. And they're like, what is that? What is that? And they pull over and they stare at like clearly burnt area on the ground. And they're like, what is it? What is that?
I know, they asked it like 5 times. It's
It's
ridiculous.
like, it's a fucking field on fire.
It's a giant fire with burn spots, bro. Like, what the fuck do you want it to be?
But apparently it looked like something crashed there.
Apparently.
And then again, they point at the sky and they're like, what is that? I'm like, it's lightning from a cloud.
That's pretty much it. You're like, it's a weather. It's a pretty common weather phenomenon called lightning.
Which a lot of it goes upward. I don't know anything about lightning, but it like would come down because it's drawn. It'd come down and go back into the cloud. But they finally make it at the quote crazy guy's house.
Sorry.
And I like the scene because he comes out and stands there and says nothing, and they all follow in one by one in a couple minutes, and then he's like, "Who are you?" He waits for them to all get into shot, and then he's like, "Who are you?"
Oh my god! And this house is clearly just some random fucking abandoned house that they found to shoot in. There's holes in the wall and dirt and shit everywhere, and no one bothered to clean up.
Well, the outside shot, it's tiny as shit.
It's a fucking
seeing
miniature.
it now.
The miniature.
And then when they're inside, it's all clearly a badly made set.
Yeah. Oh, but I mean, like, and it goes on forever, and there's no sense of chronology at all. There's no sense of direction. You don't know where the fuck you are at any given point in time. And then, at some point, they redecorate this whole thing as fucking as a cave system, which, by the way, are basically paper mache sheets that look kind of like giant towels draped over a wall, which are clearly just the fucking house walls in the same configuration we just looked at. I mean, like, holy crap. And all the entrances in that cavern, I know I'm ahead of myself right now, but all the entrances in that cavern are fucking doorways, like square doorways. Not like, they didn't bother rounding it off. Like, little touches like that could have really saved it. But no, I look at walls, I see a straight wall with a straight edge on it, with wavy, ripply towel shapes on it, and then a fucking square doorway. No sense of disbelief whatsoever. Anyway, back to before they dress that up. Back to where when it's basically a shitty house set.
Yeah, they enter in. At first, he tells them pretty much to fuck off, and then they're like, "It's a bad storm." And he's like, "All right, come in." And then he thinks they're shrinks, so he wants to get rid of them. But he's like, "I'm a space studier." He didn't say that, but pretty much. And he's like, "Oh, I'll tell you anything. I'll tell you everything." He goes into his story.
Once again,
one drawn out, and he's really weird and creepy.
He sounds drunk. Well, I mean, but
and then
so does the professor, and so does that one lady. So, you know.
And then the fucking alien decides he's gonna land, which means he's just gonna slide into the side of the house.
And by land, I mean crash land in such a way as they nosedive so hard that he's got a high 45-degree angle, just like all the way up and smashes into the miniature house.
Now, I actually want to say that the outside shot is not a miniature. It looks like just a shot of an old farmhouse that's much bigger than the house they went into.
Even when the miniature spaceship's there?
I think it's 2 shots, I think.
You think
it might not be, but...
It looked like a miniature to me, but I mean, I didn't investigate, so... I'll believe you. You're looking right at it. I believe you.
It just looks like an old abandoned farmhouse from what I can see. But maybe they built it, but... It seems like it'd be a lot of work for them to build a little miniature farmhouse. But now they're wandering around, and old man's dead. One of their friends is dead. None of them really show any emotion on their face again.
Nope, not for the rest of the movie.
As they're just staring at corpses. What's the geeky guy decides he needs to go puke in the kitchen. He doesn't even say where's the bathroom. Where's the kitchen?
Like, but what's the point? Because the fucking house is ramshackle. Just puke to the left of you. Who gives a shit? It's a
I do.
ramshackle house, dog. Come on.
Oh my god! Now that I'm like watching it again, I could see the cupboards are made out of cardboard. You could see the ripples in the cardboard.
Yeah. I mean, it's bad. The set. I
But
mean,
yeah,
the budget went into that. Oh, by the way, before that, sorry. So the when it crash lands, it kills the old man. 'Cause the old man runs to the doorway and stands there like a crazy person and waits for it to crash into him. Because the aircraft the alien craft smashes right into the front door. And he wants to rushes to meet them, and he stands there. I'm gonna meet ya. And then after that, the alien with the prehensile arm penis, all you see is it coming at over the camera like this. And so I'm just like, look, it's his penis. Because making a joke. It grabs this one guy by the face and sucks him to basically liquefies him, but like it's like draining him of his life force and shit. And it's a really, really rad special effect. And you can tell this is where a lot of the budget went. Is this special effect?
yeah, that's what's happening right now. That's the guy that went to go puke in the kitchen.
Exactly.
But yeah,
Make those pieces together there.
it's just funny watching the background in it the cardboard cupboards are like bending. But I also want to point out their idea of making a house look old and ruined is just randomly spray painting black spray paint on the wall.
And putting holes in the wall.
Like every wall in the cupboard just has random black spray paint. I also like the reason they like have to show that it's the guy liquefied is his hand is there.
Yeah.
And his glasses. That's how you know it's him. Because otherwise it would look like a puddle of puke.
It grabs the guy by the face and like flails him around and starts draining him, and then he yells out, and then everyone hears the commotion. But not before he yells out. Even though it's the next room over, no one can hear him. His heavy, lumbering feet stumbling uncomfortably around like he's hurt. But no, it takes some screaming.
I also like the shot of the creature's foot, like in the kitchen, like he's just behind a door, like they won't see me. I don't know why he didn't just attack them all right there.
I don't know. He just stood there and hid for some reason. And everyone at some point after this, I guess everyone escapes through the basement.
Right now he's having them split up. He sent 4 one way, and then he took one girl with him another way. I don't know why. It's like, let's split up. And there's just some more shots of like the alien's legs walking around. They're trying to find a way out, and they can't. And now they're in the basement, where there's a table with a machete and an axe, which they pick up.
A random workbench with a machete, an axe, and like a baseball bat.
Picture frames.
A picture frames. That's probably what it was. Yeah. Something wooden. That's all I know. It was like wood of some sort.
To block the door, the guy just laid sort of one piece of wood next to the door, and the door opens inward, so it didn't do anything.
Yeah, you know how you do that, sir. You put the board on the floor. And then you nail the board to the floor, and that's how you appropriately lock a door that swings inward.
You just kind of slightly laid it sideways on the door, which like falls over.
You know how you do that? You wedge that against something. You don't just lean it against the door, you fucking dummy. Anyway.
This is also the scene where the girl does that awkward line, and where she's just like, "Yeah, we look out the window, and they were eating cows. Raw.
They're mutating cows."
Just the way she delivered it, there was a lot of pauses. It was weird.
We were looking out the window, and we saw a bunch of mutilated cows, like that, but more drunk. Because she sounds really drunk.
Where the alien's hand comes through the door, right? And there's a bunch of establishing shots of the different people. None of them are doing anything. They're just standing there, blank face. No one's reacting like
no one has a reaction. They're just
like they're dead. They're just dead eyes, not doing anything. And then one of the guys runs up and stabs the hand. Again, a bunch of shots of their faces, not reacting or anything. And then the great scene of the girl that stands in front of the door and is like, I don't think they're going to come back. They didn't expect us to attack them. She even takes her coat off before she gets stabbed with the hand. But it completely busts through her guts.
Yeah, I mean, like, it punches right through her guts, and it's oddly sexual in its mannerisms when doing so.
And the professor chops the alien's hand off, and then for some reason one of the guys pulls it out of her stomach even though she's dead.
I know, right? She falls down, and he goes, "Oh!" Like, what? Why wouldn't you just leave it there?
So that's a fun little gore scene for you, your gore hounds.
Yeah, I mean, like the effects are really good in this film for the budget. I mean, it's a small budget, obviously, and it's I think the effects are a real saving grace for this film.
Now, there's something I don't remember mentioned at all, but maybe it was where he's just like, "Oh yeah, there's a tunnel system under the house." Okay, professor.
Right? Like, all right.
And now they enter in those tunnels that you love.
Ugh. They look so bad. And on
And
top of it, there's no sense of geography because they all look the same. So they literally wandered between two rooms, and you can't tell the difference. Cause what? Like,
this is where also before they enter the tunnel, professor picks up a harpoon because you'd have one of those in your basement.
where the fuck is this filmed? Cause where the hell? Why do they have a harpoon?
I don't know. And then you wanted to argue with me that it wasn't a harpoon.
Yeah, it looked like a spear for a while there, and then or a jib hook, to like pick up the line.
Yeah, it's a fucking harpoon.
JC
Even
tells
has
people a jib hook. That's what I thought.
even
It was
has
one of
the
those.
even has the thing where it goes in and then it turns so it locks in.
Yeah.
Which is funny because at one point later he's pointing it and it's where it wouldn't stab because then he has to like readjust it. But yeah, they make it in the cave, kind of nonchalantly, just walking around. Like it ain't no big thing.
Pretty much, yeah.
Also,
This right here is where the movie drags for like 8 minutes, where you're just like,
yeah.
I lost a
So
lot of interest at this point. I
the,
was trying to keep my steam up. Like,
I just noticed the professor picks up the harpoon, enters a cave, and then one of the students had the harpoon, and the professor has an axe.
oh my god, you're right. Fuck. Nice catch.
They just sit down with like a lamp and just like fucking tell campfire
A
stories.
lamp with an orange light in it for some reason instead of a white light.
Like
a light
let's
bulb.
just chill here and tell stories, and then of course some aliens show up
That's
where
right.
it's like we finally see the full alien.
Yeah, and its arms bend backwards, and it's got a nice, really neat stop motion thing. And once again, we're treated to the not properly composited footage where we see the monster on the foreground and the actor on the background.
And the actors are blurry in the background.
Yes, probably
But
why they got relegated to the background.
the aliens have dinosaur-esque heads.
Yes.
They kind of look like the thing from Star Wars.
Oh, the thing that's smoking in the cantina.
Mm,
Trandoshan.
maybe. Yeah, a little bit like that, but also a little bit like the big one, the big alien in the pit.
Oh, the
Why am I
Sarlacc.
blanking on Sniper? Yeah, no,
Okay.
not the pit itself.
Oh, the Rancor.
Jabba's,
The Rancor.
yeah.
That.
Looks-
Okay, that one.
It's
You're
like a
talking about-
mix between those two aliens.
Oh, right. You're right. Okay, I see what you're going for. Gotcha.
I'm trying to explain it, but anyways, it's wearing armor. One gets harpooned. Apparently, the flashlight blinds it. She's blinding it with a flashlight. Gets harpooned in the neck. The other one gets axed, I believe. So they killed two of them, and it's great because they're just like, they're dead. Let's go, and they just slowly walk away. Like no. Oh yeah, one of them pulls a gun out. Remember, a little alien gun.
And yeah, he starts shooting at the sheriff and the guys over at their cars. Remember that?
No, this is when they're still in the tunnel.
Oh, this is right.
It doesn't get axed. He pulls the little laser gun out, and the woman slowly throws the lantern at it, and then the guy just disappears. So it must reflect off the lantern, and he stopped himself.
Yeah, that's. I think that's what it was implying. Yeah.
But then another one shows up, and they blind it, and then they slowly walk away through the tunnel. Like, no big deal.
No big, it's blind.
Professor has been scratched and hurt, and one of the guys has a leg wound. So, but it's funny because it's such an awkward turn, and it keeps cutting to the alien being like, "Ah, I'm blind." I mean, it doesn't say that, but it's reacting, and they just slowly fucking walk away.
Yep.
Like, ain't no thing.
Like, you're not gonna take care of the evil alien, even though it's blinded. Like, still kind of dangerous.
And then there's just more scenes of them slowly walking through this giant tunnel. Like,
Yeah, it's an 8 minute
again,
sequence that was like really like it's the biggest drag in the entire movie actually.
and then they actually sit down. Like, they've gone like 5 minutes and they sit down. Like, there's a fucking alien. It's not gonna be blinded forever.
Right? And even if it's blind, it can still wander at you from noise. Jesus.
And then there's a lot of unnecessary shit where, like, one of the girls is like, "You look good without your glasses." And then he's like, "I've always liked you." And then they kiss. I'm like, what is this shit?
What is this horse shit? The aliens aren't mauling people with this shit.
And then the girl who clearly is like the professor from the beginning is like, "I like you." And he's like, "Yeah, whatever." Pretty much. And he's like, "I'm going to protect you." But he broke the the rule in filmmaking. They're all walking one way the whole time. And then he walks off that direction they were walking. So he was going ahead, not behind, like to actually protect them from the alien coming through. He's fucking leaving them. And then they just like catch up to him. They're like, "Nah, you can't do this alone." I'm like, what? Very confusing.
And like I said, there's no sense of direction, so they're breaking the 180 rule, and they're like people are walking off screen on one shot and coming on the left and coming on screen on the right shot, which is a big fucking no-no. You're supposed to keep all the action on one side, so if you go to the left, you come out from the left. If you go right, you come out from the right, etc. You know,
And
that's how you keep continuity without confusing your audience.
they found a way out by the alien ship. Professor sends
crashed into the ground. Yeah.
Yeah, I just also noticed there's a shot of like the door on the ship coming down and the alien coming out, which might have been a reused shot, but like, how would it do it the way the ship was sitting? It's like this, but it shows like a door coming down like this.
Yeah, I don't know.
But they leave. Professor lights some dynamite. Alien goes to attack him. The guy with the mutilated dogs and the store owner or restaurant owner show up, start blasting the aliens to death. And she's like, "We gotta go save the professor." And they're like, "Let's kill this alien out here first." Which is kind of weird because they're shooting it and you see like the little like marks on it, and then it just kind of like awkward cut to it just laying on the ground.
Yeah. No killing blow for us. He just kind of died.
And so the professor's fighting. He lights some dynamite and he's harpooning at a alien.
Yeah, he's fighting an alien one-on-one with a harpoon and kind of successful somehow.
The really weird scene with that alien is shooting his little laser gun at the redneck guy, and it like hits his tire, and he's just like, "That's my favorite thing," or some shit. And he doesn't even aim; he's just cocking a gun and firing from the fucking hip at this thing.
Yeah, the Winchesters are just going whack, whack, like fire, 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 just boom, boom, boom.
But the girl likes professor ends up in the tunnel, and blindly hip fires as well at the alien. Oh, and I just noticed that they used she fired 3 shots, cuts to the guy reacting and an alien reacting, fires 3 shots again, same shot.
Oh shit, son!
I'm seeing all these double shots, man.
That's a pretty traditional technique, but usually not that blatant. There's usually more space between them.
But she shoots the shit out of that alien, and they leave, and yeah, that's totally a real house because they're running next to the house coming out where the ship is crashed.
Like I said, I wasn't sure, so cool. It's
and they stand
out that. I'm a real house.
Yeah, you son of a bitch.
Crashing things into me, you son of a bitch.
The dynamite explodes with them not that far away, and somehow the ship and the house just disappear. It's not an explosion; it's just poof.
Well, it's low budget. What do you expect? I can't blow up a real house.
And then he's just like...
Though I question their dedication to the craft, where they're not willing to blow up a real house. I'm just saying.
We could at least had a fake explosion of some sort. Like, literally, I guess that was supposed to be an explosion, but it looks like the alien ship just disappeared. And then there's just like, that's done with. And then one last shot of a dead alien, the one they killed in the tunnel. And then, boom, just freeze frame of that and cast listed.
Yep. It's like, even though there's 10 minutes there near the end that are just really fucking boring and pointless, I really enjoyed the fuck out of this movie. There was enough dopey fucking lines and enough hilariously awesome like special effects. This one won me over.
I just enjoy the fact that they were just completely blank no matter what they were doing in their acting.
Well,
There's just fucking no emotion, no pep in their step, so to speak, when there's fucking aliens behind them.
pep in their
Like,
step, Jesus.
there's like no haste in their actions.
There's no
It's
life in their characterizations
like I'm gonna blind it with a flashlight. Let's slowly walk in this tunnel and then sit down around the corner. The
until
fuck?
it comes back again and then do it again. So, did you like the movie?
It was enjoyable. I mean,
Would-
it wasn't good,
What'd you give
but
it?
it was enjoyable. I might be generous with a 3 out of 5.
I'm giving it a 3 out of 5. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. The special effects, I mean, it was just funny enough, you know?
Yeah. If you like terrible acting, this is your movie.
Well, there's just some lines, the way he delivers it. He's drunk and he's just like, blah,
Oh,
blah, 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 blah. There's that one, he's like,
that one girl.
mutation. He was like, it's mutated, and burnt to a crisp or something like that. And like, whatever he said, I was like, that's a fucking great line. I want to quote that. So I'm not going to go back and actually quote that in a video at some point.
You gotta find the one with the girl where she was just like, they were eating it raw.
Yes, they were eating it raw.
There was like so many pauses, and he's like, we saw them out the window, mutilating cows, eating them raw. Like, what? No one's like, another take. Unless they did like 20 takes. And like,
well, it's 16mm film, so they probably didn't have enough film to actually do another take.
This is probably a one take movie, man. Unless
yeah.
they really fucked up.
Yeah, I'm sure it's one of those. That's the best bad movies, the one take wonders, man. I give it 3 out of 5 because I really enjoyed it. Some of the lines were really just great. So
I probably enjoyed it a little more because I kept making dumb jokes over all their stuff.
that always increases the enjoyment of a movie. Yes. So what are the fine folks gonna be watching with us next week?
Guess we're gonna watch Swamp Head.
Alrighty then. So is that that's a newer movie, right?
Yeah, 2000 something.
Shot in
Super
video.
low budget.
All right.
Indie.
Right on. So that's what we're gonna watch next week. We're gonna watch Swamp Head.
It's literally a head in the swamp
I think it's 2009.
that kills people.
But it's
It's just
available. It's available on DVD for cheap, like $8 or something like that. So if anyone wants to pick it up, otherwise, we can just talk about it before you pick it up. That works too.
All I remember from the trailer was the guy that says, I want to get my dick wet. And the other guy's like, well, go dip in the swamp or something.
That's not what he means, you fucking dummy. Anyway. All right. Well, that was a really enjoyable movie, and we'll see you next week with Swamp Head, guys. Peace.